No, getting there.
Now we are. Okay.
Hello, everybody. It's the Flippin' Bunch
Hello.
this evening on a Wednesday, and we have a guest. So first we'll go around and introduce ourselves, and then we are going to let our guest, I'll introduce her first, and then she is going to tell us a little bit about herself. So I am Dar from DIYs by Dar, and I've been flipping furniture for 4 years, and I am a maximalist artist, and I flip furniture and smalls. Krystal, you're up.
Hey, everybody. I am Krystal, and I am the Crafty Creech DIYs and furniture flips. I love flipping furniture, thrifting. I'm a reseller, so I love finding stuff to buy and sell. I love hunting for the stuff, and I love flipping it and recreating it and all that good stuff. I just love old stuff. Now you, Kat.
I'm Kat from Owling Dog, and I like to refinish furniture and restore furniture and other antique pieces. And I also like to do different kinds of art. Thanks.
Okay, and I'm Lavonne from Statement Designs, and I've had a business for about a little over 10 years, and I've done in-home design, and then I've had a shop for 10 years, and once I opened a shop and started selling Dixie Belle paint, that's when I discovered that that's what my passion was as far as art went, using furniture as a canvas. So I prefer artistry furniture painting as opposed to restoration because because as I was lamenting earlier, spending hours in the sun with the sweat going to my eyes, sanding, not into it. So I'll be glad when this piece is done. But yeah, so that's what I like to do. And I have been doing a lot of smalls, and I've been telling everybody my new passion lately has been working with resin, a bunch of different kinds of resins. So it's my story.
Okay, tonight we have with us a special guest, Marah from Borderline Furniture RX. And I want to say we've been watching Marah at least the last 2 years, 3 years. And Marah, she is very creative. She can take pieces and she finds an idea in it and she can change it around, and she's very meticulous with the way she does her creations, like measuring. like I don't measure, but she's very meticulous on the way she does her pieces, and they always come together so well, and they are so beautiful. So here is Marah. You want to introduce yourself, and then I'm going to go through and put up your Facebook page, YouTube page, and Instagram page so people can find you.
Okay. Well, I'm Marah Fanning, and I am Borderline Furniture RX, or sometimes we just call it the Borderline. uh, and everybody had just described the furniture that or the furniture and techniques they kind of like doing. I don't like to get really nice furniture because then, that's not really borderline and that doesn't align with what I want to do. And I pass by so many good deals, but they're just in good shape. So I really like the challenge of taking something that's broken or something that's outdated and turning it into something, different. And how I got started, probably like most people, I've heard this many, many times that they were all stuck at home during COVID. And that was me. And my outlet was to play with the symphony. And obviously, we couldn't do that. So I just said one day I was looking at a YouTube channel and I said, "Oh, I bet I could do that." And I was watching Pretty Distressed actually, and she was painting and using a paintbrush, and so I said, "Oh, I could do that. I'll try that." And the first piece I did was a headboard, and very quickly I learned I don't like using the paintbrush as much as I like using the sprayer. Anyway, so I guess everybody has their niche, but I noticed that more so than most, I'm in there cutting things and hammering and using all the power tools. So I thought that would be a good discussion for today. It's kind of one of my strengths. I don't mind getting out there and cutting up a bunch of stuff, so or using a power tool. So I just thought we could
Yeah,
talk about that
yeah,
today.
you use them great. You uh, honestly, if you really want to learn how to use one of them tools, you just follow Mara, and she's got it all figured out for you. That's for sure.
That's kind of my story.
Or
That's how I
what
got started.
inspired you to really get into doing this now and continue it, because that's kind of a hard balance, as we all know, trying to do a full-time job and take care of your family and then try to do all this, and you're doing it all on your own. So what is inspiring you at this point to keep on going, girl?
Well, actually, I really just enjoy the challenges because they give you a box. I know that sounds dumb, but you have a box of something that you have to, mirror challenge or the blue challenge. So, what in those parameters can I take something I have and make it pretty cool, and watchable? And that's really what keeps me going is the challenges. So,
Yeah,
Gotcha.
yeah.
to
That's
answer your
awesome.
question.
All right, I'm gonna try to pop up your YouTube banner here. Sometimes it takes a few seconds for it to get up on the screen, but it shall be coming. And there we have. This is what you're going to find on YouTube when looking for Marah on Borderline Furniture RX. And then she also, at this point, she does have a Instagram page as well, and it's kind of new. And Marah is just starting to get into all of these lovely things and hoops that you have to jump through if you want to keep this YouTube going for yourself, and branching out and getting all them socials. That's another hard thing to try to get organized, Marah. I'm just finally now trying to get a handle on it. So, but here's Marah's Instagram page, if you guys want to catch her there. And I'm going to put up a couple of Marah's pieces. And there was this headboard. And this is from the Mirror Challenge. And this is Lavonne inspired.
Yes, and I love it so much. When we get to some of your tools, I have some questions for you because I was really impressed with really impressed. I just love it so much. And I was honored that you picked mine.
Wow,
Yeah,
that's
it's
awesome.
amazing. It is really amazing. Like you are, like Dar said, you are so meticulous with everything. I just really appreciate that about you because I know that that can be time consuming, and I just love how that you do everything right.
Well, isn't that the beauty of video editing though?
True.
Good
All right,
point.
I'm going to put a close up of this on, because you can't really appreciate the steps that Marah took to do this. And here's a little bit better. I mean, there were some layering. She did a raised stencil. She did the decoupage paper, and I believe all these moldings that she did put up around here, you had to make them look kind of like that old crusty brown. You
It
went through a few.
it looks like cast iron. It looks just like cast iron.
Good. That's where I was going. Yeah,
Yeah.
the raised stencil, I actually practiced on cardboard boxes, if you can believe that, because I had a few different ideas, and so several cardboard boxes were killed in the making of this video. Um, but it was definitely a learning experience. And then there was twice where I applied it, and I was just not happy with the way that it came out, and paint and whatever plaster stuff I was using, and so I scraped it all off, and that's very easy. And my husband said, really what your audience wants to see sometimes is, hey, this didn't work out because of this. And so,
Yeah.
I said, yes, I didn't record that. And yes, I didn't want the video to be 20 minutes long either. So, I had to kind of pick and choose.
So
There
I
was a
looked
lot
through
of
your
footage not shown.
So I looked through your PowerPoint, and I don't think I saw. So you mentioned you made the stencil for that, and
Yes.
do you have a silhouette Cameo 4? Because it's pretty big.
No, I have just the basic silhouette cutter that I purchased. Oh, I don't know, maybe like 6 or 7 years ago. It was like one of the very first models, and I've had it for
So
a
is it
long
like a
time.
12-inch?
Yes, it is.
Okay.
So
I was
the
thinking it
mat,
was bigger than that. I thought it looked like it was, but okay.
yeah,
I was
no,
wondering about that.
it's 12, but you can run a 24-inch. Um, I don't know. I use the adhesive mat in there when I do my
Mhm.
cutting because I don't want the cuttings to fall into the cutter. And to be honest, I was so busy I never went for the lessons. I just figured it out watching YouTube, like probably most everybody else.
I figured mine out too, but my when I moved it, it got out of alignment. So
Oh no,
did you ever have to realign yours?
never.
Okay, well, there goes that. I was going to say, help me, Marah.
Oh no, I haven't. Oh
All
no.
right. Let's take a look at Marah. She is an excellent upholstery person. Now, I think, didn't you get these chairs really cheap?
Yeah, they were, I think, $25 a piece, and then they were half off. I think so, $12 a
Oh,
piece.
wow.
So here's
Amazing.
what she did.
I love
Beautiful.
those.
They got them cute little VW van on there. Now, here's one I'm going to show you when Marah did this. This was way too much for me when she started out, first with this headboard, if I could get it to go up. There was her blank slate. And here's what she ended up with,
Yeah.
which
And that was
uh,
amazing how you did that. I just can't believe it.
measuring, cutting different colored woods, staining different colored woods. How she designed that all out was just phenomenal. And the measuring required for that, I would not even attempt it because it would drive me crazy. But what a beautiful piece, Marah.
Thank you.
Not just the
Yeah.
measuring, all the curves, and yeah, it was, that is incredible. I think you won with that one of the challenges, right?
Yes, yeah,
Mhm.
yeah.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
amazing.
Marah mentioned this clock that she did, and I did a dual picture. And the done piece, I just couldn't get a really grand photo of it, but it's a police box and it has a little light up on the top of it. So Marah just took that old clock and turned it into a really cool curio cabinet and a police box, which she has a little rendition of one on that middle shelf there in the blue. So now, if I would have looked at that clock, do I see turning it into a police office box? No, but that's that creative part that somebody else, can see. And that's really what it's all about. Now,
Evie
here's an
says,
interesting, pardon?
back on the other one, I was just going to say, Evie says she's loving the Doctor Who piece. And was
Oh,
that the
yes.
inspiration with that? The TARDIS is on the.
Oh, what was the inspiration?
I'm asking on the second shelf there, is that the TARDIS, from
That-
Doctor Who?
That's the TARDIS. Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
And
Yeah.
I've never watched Doctor Who, but I used to have a cabinet in the shop and everybody said that's what it was. So I learned what that
well,
was.
yeah, I'm not a big Doctor Who fan, but my husband and my kids love it. And I
Oh,
don't
yeah?
know, I was looking through Pinterest one day and I was like, oh, someday I want to do a Doctor Who inspired something or other. And then somebody had this clock for $15 and it was broken, and basically they were just trying to unload it. It was from like Costco or something. So I got some, you know, I appreciate everybody's comments, even if they're not good, because I just learned from the not good. But this individual was pretty darn mad that I ruined a clock, and all I can say is, even in the video, I'm like, no, this clock is broken, and it's not not an antique or anything, but he's pretty darn mad. So, uh, it's just.
So here was, I think, a thrift flip challenge. Was it we had to keep it under 25 bucks?
Yeah, yeah.
So now this is how good Marah did here. She took these three pieces, and this girl knows how to use a sewing machine, because she took jeans and cut them up and made a covering for that chair.
She sent
And
it
when
to
you see it close up, it's just gorgeous. We finished that little shelf, put a glass, little cabinet, put a glass shelf in there. And then a really cool, what was it, ways to live, or things to look out for in the future, something on that poster frame that you
Future,
did. It was really cool.
yeah, future science, yeah. Yeah, so that's funny because the chair, my daughter and her boyfriend saw it and they're like, oh, we must have it. And so then
I'll
the
tell you what,
lady
you were
at the,
showing off on that one.
yeah, and then I kept the picture for my office, and then I donated the little shelf back to the store because they're just so nice to me. Sometimes she'll be like, "Oh, you're gonna fix this? Oh, I'll give you a discount," and she did for this one. I was very fortunate. And then I didn't get the memo that this wasn't a furniture. I didn't see it until later that it actually wasn't a furniture challenge. It was a what do you guys call it? Decor challenge.
Yeah, but that works. That's decor.
Yeah. Well, we were all impressed
Yeah.
with you keeping all that under $25.
Yeah.
That was very
Yeah.
impressive.
It was impressive just how much work, especially just that chair, how much work you put into that chair.
Yeah.
All of it, but the chair was like incredible.
So I have a question. So you number all of your projects, and
Yes.
did that start in the very beginning with number one? Has it been consistent the whole way through, or when did you start numbering?
No, since the very beginning, yeah. And if you've ever seen those first 3 videos, I was so afraid to talk and I couldn't figure it out. I didn't know exactly, how to do that. And some friends from work said, we really would like to hear what you're thinking and what you're doing. And so then I started voice editing my videos. But yeah, those very first 3, it was one of those, hey, I got to get something out there on YouTube. So, like anybody else starting out.
Right. You are very specific in your brand. You've got that down. Your branding is awesome. Like you know what you want, and you're nailing it, like for sure.
Yeah.
Okay, I got one more picture of a piece here, and this is the starting. Pretty mundane. Here we go. This is what Marah turned it into.
Wow.
Yes, this one sold right away, didn't it, Marah?
Yes, that one did.
I'm sure.
And it had matching end tables or side tables, bedside tables.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I did see those. Yes.
Yeah.
Did the same person buy them all?
Yes. Yes.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
That's like the magical unicorn.
I know. Yeah.
Yeah. Somebody just comes in and buys all your pieces. That reminds me of that show, Flea Market Flip, where they flip furniture and then they go and they resell it, and then they call it the magical unicorn when somebody will come in and buy all 3 pieces.
Right.
I just think they have a friend come in. They call them up and say, hey, we're in deep trouble here.
They
Bring that
might.
money and come buy these.
They might. Yeah, I'll throw you some extra dough. Yeah.
Well, that's all I have. We are going to try and get a PowerPoint presentation up that Marah created herself, which that's wonderful. We usually don't have people that can take the time or want to take the time to actually do that. So hopefully everything will run fine.
Well, just add
So
it to the stage then, and
Yeah.
then I can
Okay.
run through it.
Do you want
could
me to
be
add?
technical difficulties.
I got it.
Oh, yeah.
I
You got
got you.
Yep.
And then you can also like hit the little, thing and make it bigger.
Okay, change the screen
Yeah.
like that. Okay, you want
Okay.
all our faces
So-
off? There we go.
And then you
Okay.
can just set it up.
So
There, I was.
Just
safety equipment.
there's a button at the bottom.
Go ahead,
that
Marah.
says
You lead the
preview.
way, and then I'll just click them when you want.
Okay, well, so I was thinking about all the things that when you're getting into flipping, or even if you've been doing it a while, some of the things that that you should be considering, or that hey, how do you guys achieve this or that? So I just wanted to pick some of the common tools, and first up always is safety, and we're always thinking safety glasses or gloves, but if you go ahead and click the next slide there, you can advance it. There you go. These are two of probably the biggest ones that I think are important, is that the hearing protection, because a lot of the equipment, I mean, I'll even wear one when I'm using my vacuum, outside my shop vac, because I just think it's so loud. But the dust, not just a dust mask, because that's not going to capture, especially if you're working with Bondo dust. You definitely don't want to breathe that. So those filter respirators are really, really important to have, in standing. And I was watching a video the other day, and this girl was talking about, I can't remember who it was, but she was saying you definitely don't want to breathe the cedar. So, like you can get cheap cedar fence boards from Home Depot. And I never thought about it, but she was saying that that's a carcinogenic. So if you're ever working with cedar, make sure that you have the dust mask on, because the dust is, not good to breathe. I didn't realize that. So
I didn't know that either.
So just things that you don't think about. So anyway, so those are just two safety things that you should probably keep in your arsenal.
Okay.
And then another thing that we do as furniture artists is a lot of cutting. So the first thing I would recommend would be the skill saw. And I'm not recommending one brand over the next. I just think that I really use the skill saw quite a bit. I have a table saw, but the skill saw, I cut paneling a lot with that, or back panels. And I was just curious from you guys, if you want to weigh in. I don't know if anybody uses a skill saw, but if it comes in battery. They have a battery operated version. They also have the plug-in version. And I don't know if you guys
So I
have
don't use
those
the
or
skill
not.
saw specific. I'm sorry. I use the skill saw, but I use a circular saw. I don't even know what brand mine is, but it's similar to that. It's a circular saw, but it's not a scale brand.
Yeah.
I have the same saw that you're showing in there. I just, my son bought it for me for Christmas.
Oh,
And I
nice.
really like it so far. And I'll tell you what I was using was my father-in-law's old saw that he built the home that my husband grew up in. So it had to be 40 years old. And that thing was heavy. And I got this. It was like getting a dream. It's nice and light. It's got a
Yeah.
laser thing on it so you can see, your line when you're cutting. So yeah, this is a nice saw. Same one I have.
Oh, very nice. Very nice.
My husband cuts me everything.
Okay.
I don't want to lose my fingers. Yeah.
Understandable. You know, they have a new table saw out now that will stop if you touch the blade while you're cutting.
What?
So yeah. I saw somebody doing a demo the other day with a piece of wood with a hot dog on it.
Oh,
Yeah, and
interesting.
yeah. So they're trying to get that mandated so that all the new saws have that feature. But you know that's going to drive the price of the saws up. So think about that when you
Right, that's
you
true.
know.
Mm-hmm.
So anyway, so the next thing is this is kind of what I think of as a force multiplier. It's if you have a skill saw, but you don't have uh, you don't have what a table saw or and you have to cut paneling, and if you've ever tried to cut without a straight line or an edge, the saw can travel. Well, this is a Craig jig, and your skill saw will just mount right to it, and then the far end is, you run that across your straight edge, and you'll get a good cut. So I use this a lot, like I say, with paneling, just to get that straight edge.
Okay. Wow.
Okay, so the next tool, and this is one that I just recently purchased. It's they're miter shears. I think that's what they call them, miter shears. And I just started seeing them pop up on Amazon, so I thought, well, I'm going to try that. I use that to cut the wood you bend and the lumber
Oh,
you bend.
yeah.
Yeah, you can take and can't you I saw you use them, and can't you change that angle so you can get different cuts, different angles?
Yes, it does have yeah, I've got it right here, and it does have that angle adjustment.
Okay,
So
all
it
right, I'll put
works
you up on the
amazingly well.
screen.
The other thing I have a hard time cutting is dowel. You know, those dowel rods, those mini dowel rods. If you
Yeah.
ever tried to just use the little miter saw box, you can't. I don't know. I'm trying to think of maybe a jigsaw or maybe, a tiny saw, but it's just hard to hold it. And they always strip and, break. I use this right here, and it worked amazingly well on dowels. So awesome.
Okay. Yeah, and it
Yeah, I
looks
love
simple
miter
and easy.
shears.
That looks like something I can handle.
Oh,
Yeah.
you totally can. They're so easy to use, and I love them. I've used them on, anytime you're doing any sort of molding, they're great because, like, if you have trouble with angles, like in making corners, this really makes it easy.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
Okay. So the next goal, uh, I don't know how many times I bought uh, hardware from Hobby Lobby, and it's just too long or
Oh,
long,
yes.
whatever, and I
Mhm.
get something to make it fit or work. Um, this is actually a wire stripper, and you just thread it to this tool, and then the wire cutters, just print on it, and it'll cut the threads without um, damage.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, the same things happened with me before at Hobby Lobby. They're so long, and I've always just used like a hacksaw or whatever, but yeah, this would be easier.
Right. And if you notice there's a little cutting edge behind the main jaw, and,
Okay.
and it's used.
Yeah, they look good. I'm making a wish list here.
Yeah. So my safety tip on that one is if you're going to use it, make sure you wear uh, some leather gloves with it. My husband was clamping down on one of them, and he got the flesh like by your ring finger. got kind of pinched in there.
Ooh.
Yeah, so
Ow.
make sure you wear gloves with that
Oh,
one.
wow.
Yeah. That
Maybe
doesn't
even
sound
eyewear, because sometimes they can fly.
And that won't be in the what do I want to call it, the hardware section. That's going to be in the electrical section. So if you're looking for something like that, of course, Amazon, you know, can get them. You'll find them everywhere. Okay.
Okay.
So is it like a wire stripper and then it just has that feature, or is it technically called a screw cutter?
No, it is a wire stripper.
Okay.
Hmm.
Okay.
Because I have a little, oh, it's just a little thing that cuts pipe, and I've used that before, but it's really a pain because it's bigger, it's meant for a larger diameter.
Oh,
So I like this because I hate putting Hobby Lobby knob in and it's like an inch too long on the inside.
Yeah. Yeah.
agree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
I don't even
this
know what this is.
this is a contractor's saw or like a table saw.
Oh, a
Um,
table saw. Okay.
yeah, so if you were really wanting a table saw but you didn't have the space or the investment, I think I saw this one I think was $250 I think on Amazon or at Lowe's, and I'm not sure they carry this one anymore, but this is what I have. And the beauty of this is when I'm done, it folds up into like a compact, you know, whatever I'm gonna say. It's very
Oh
compact.
my. It's like on its own little personal dolly. That is awesome.
Yeah, I like that a lot.
Yeah,
Oh, that would be great because ours, it's like we have to take it apart into two pieces to store it. And it's always such a pain in the butt to pull out. This would make that so much easier.
yeah. I love
Yeah.
this. And I mean, you get what you pay for. It's not an expensive, um, piece, but I can get pretty square edges with it. So I've been so far happy. I'm not making anything precision when I use it. So, um,
Yeah.
you know,
Well, I
um,
think it's good too. Sometimes you have long boards that, just like you need to cut the long edge of. And
right,
it's just kind of difficult to use a circular saw to do that or a jigsaw. So I think this would be a great tool for that.
right. Yeah. And I think I was just talking about in my last video about 2x4s. If you are going to do a project with a 2x4, the best thing to do is take those rounded edges off, and it'll look more like a board versus something that looks like a 2x4. And that I tried one time building a project with just 2x4s, and it came out so bad. I was like, why does this look so terrible? I cut the edges off, and I was like, wow, this now looks like, a piece versus something that I just pieced together like a backyard
Hmm.
thing.
So
So
you just cut like about what, an eighth of an inch off or something?
yeah, cut that rounded edge off.
Yeah.
Or if you know somebody that has a planer, that's a little more
Yeah.
precise. But I don't have a planer. I mean, not a planer, but a joiner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Mhm.
So, if you're starting out, I think that the skill saw that we talked about in the beginning is probably that's where I would put my money. But as you get farther along and you're like, hey, I really, enjoy this, or I really want to add to my tools, I think that little compact table saw is amazing. I've got a
Yeah.
lot of it.
Yeah, it looks good.
Yeah. Okay, so I think
All
we're on.
right.
Go ahead. Okay. So another thing when you're working with furniture is you got drill. So everybody knows what a drill is. Everybody probably has one.
Right.
Advocating for a certain brand or anything, but the the thing that I really use a lot is that little Craig. This is the exact one I have actually. That Craig jigs. and they have several of them. They have a single one, but the shown here, I think you can take it apart and make it single. Have the ones put the wood in and clamp it down. You're doing a lot of pieces. That's really helpful. But I get that one I have there.
Okay. And does that do the pocket holes?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Yeah. I just have a really cheap one that I bought on Amazon. It was like $10. I just wanted to try it, or $15. I can't remember. It works okay, but this is the one you like then.
Yeah, I use the Craig jig.
Okay.
And the
Oh,
key to
yeah.
the Craig jig is the next on the next slide, because there is a clamp. It looks like, I don't know if you can see that. Yep, there it is. Yeah. So I am sure that the Craig clamp is, the it's that, but I got my clamp from Harbor Freight. Is that right? Harbor Freight.
Okay.
Mhm.
Less than half, I think. So that they're pretty proud of their name brand. But I got, like I said, this is the one I use, and it's pretty similar.
Okay.
But
And
I
that
do,
was from Harbor Freight, you said?
yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
I have a couple of those.
yeah, they were great.
So they look like they have like a movable
Yeah,
platform on them for when you clamp down. So it kind of, like if
Move.
you're on an uneven surface or something is
yeah, so,
okay.
yeah. So you can
Oh,
clamp that jig in place. Because before I had these, I was trying to clamp, this wouldn't hold it in place. So I do recommend that, you get the Craig clamp, that's fine. But if you want something that does the same thing effectively, at, half the cost, try Harbor Freight. And
right.
I'm thinking there's another Northern Tool. They may have them as well.
Okay. Yeah, Harbor Freight, I feel like they have cost effective tools there.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah,
They aren't, in my estimation, aren't always the best quality, but
No. Mhm.
um, and myself, I bought the little Craig jig first, and then I bought the one that you have there, and I cannot seem to get like, I really want to build like a new base for a piece of furniture, and that's probably an entry level project, but I don't know why it just doesn't seem to just come naturally to me. So I need to really pull out that Craig jig and just play with it and tackle it, and I know it'll be my new best friend if I do.
yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
So okay.
All right. So another thing that is really helpful, and I wish I had one of these. I did have one, and this is just a template actually for hardware. So
Yes. These are nice.
yeah, most people are, they're either making it two holes where there was one, or one hole where there was two.
Mhm.
Maybe they're moving the hole completely, to the other side, or maybe they have, a brand new piece of wood that just needs a hole. So anyway, uh, with those, that is just a really inexpensive option. You just find your center, and then, figure out where your holes need to go. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah. So when I did my
Yeah,
kitchen,
I had a nice
but
I had a nice set of those. And when they came and put my new kitchen cabinets in, he swiped them. So now I have to buy another set.
I
ah,
have those because I've painted a lot of kitchen cabinets in my career, and I'm kind of done doing that. But they are great for drawers too. But yeah, I love those things.
okay, good, good. I had one, and for some reason, I thought that that would be great to drill through. No, don't do that. Mark the hole and then drill. Don't drill through the template because you'll ruin it. And so I have some drawer handles that are kind of off. But
Yeah, I agree with you.
Yes, yes, absolutely.
really easy to use. But the next option would be these. And I got one off of Amazon, and it wasn't really that expensive. Like I don't know, $20, $25 maybe. But this is a different type of hardware jig, and it's a little bit more convoluted to use, but I get really, I mean, it's great, right? I never have it, but I think I might go back to the way, just
Yeah.
template option.
So it looks like they move. So you can measure them and then they move and then you drill through those.
Yeah, except I already learned my lesson with drilling through things. So what I do is I'll put the the drill bit in and just twist it to where it makes a mark, and then I'll just jig off and drill through.
Yes, you don't ruin it. Make the hole bigger.
Or it could move, and then that would
Oh,
put it in place and mark your material. So
gotcha. Yeah, that wouldn't be good either.
let's see what I included. Oh, okay, a screw starter. These are
Oh,
I need one of those.
me too.
makes sense. There's different ones, and this is an example I can find. So for yes, I don't think it would work for Phillips, but just a common. And I tried to make a little circle with a line to make it look like a screw top. How it's twisted, spring loaded.
Hmm.
So,
Uh-oh. We're losing you here.
Yeah.
We lost your voice a little bit.
okay,
Try again.
okay. So in that image, I tried to show like a slotted screw, and how that tool works is you twist it, and it's like kind of like spring loaded. And so when you push it into the slot, there's a section in the middle that'll go off center. Will actually pull.
Darn.
Yeah, that's a cool thing. I'm having trouble sticking with you, Marah. You're cutting in and out, but we'll keep going and hopefully we can get you.
Yeah.
Okay.
Could be the weather. Who knows?
Oh, so that's another image of the screw starter?
Okay. So you said it's spring loaded, right?
I
Yeah.
see.
So when you
I didn't
turn
realize
it,
that was.
okay.
Yeah.
All right.
All right.
I'm getting one of those. Yes, Sanders.
Boo, boo.
We all hate it.
Yeah.
We do.
This looks nice with dust extraction. Are you there, Marah?
Yeah. Can you hear me?
Now
Yeah.
we can.
Okay. Good. Okay. So everybody's real taken with the Surf Prep sander, and then of course the DeWalt. What is that? Orbital sander. Well, this one, I never thought about this before, but I have a friend who has a workshop, and he invited me to come over and look at his shop. And
so good, very impressive. Good.
I think I'm getting static again.
Yeah, a little bit.
Okay, I don't know where it's coming from. I have a dead spot.
There's also some background noise. I don't know if we're picking something up.
Yeah, I don't know. Hang on a second. I'm going to see if you're picking it up here.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not on my end.
Okay.
I'm so sorry.
But I-
Picking up your voice.
So
So when you start to do live streams, Marah, you can see all the fun you have with it.
Yes. Okay, so you were talking about how you went to your friend's shop.
And so he said, "This is my sander, and I love it." And he picked it up, and all he did was touch the button on the top, and the sander started working, and the vacuum cleaner turned on instantly.
What?
Yeah, and then he took his hand off of it, and the vacuum cleaner shut off. And I was, gotta have one of these.
Okay, we need to hear more about this magical sander.
Do you know how many times I've started sanding with my surf prep and I never turn the vacuum on? And I'm like, where's all this dust coming from? Well, helps if you turn the vacuum on.
Yeah. What is
Well, I have the cheap version. I have the shop vac and Black and Decker and a pipe strap that I tighten.
Me too.
When I have to turn this vacuum on and then the sander.
Yeah.
I've got the duct tape, so that's how I keep mine together.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so what is this vacuum called then?
Yeah, I've got to. I just researched a brand that was on Amazon, but I'm gonna ask him. I meant to ask him today. But I'll check back, and then next week I'll just go ahead and type it in so you can have the whole skinny on how that setup worked out. Yeah.
I know there's a brand called Festool also that is dust extraction.
Yeah, they're expensive, I believe.
Yes.
But it comes as a whole system and it's pretty good.
Yeah.
Festool does, or is that Surf Prep, or do they both?
They both have the dust extraction.
Okay. Do they come together with the whole system, or do you have to buy everything separately?
No, I think everything comes together because it, like Dar said, it's very expensive. It's like, I don't know. I think they're like $2,000 or something.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, I know.
Well, I will report back next week.
That's
okay.
perfect. All right. So I have a question actually, now that I'm thinking about it. Do you prefer an orbital sander or a different type of sander?
I like the orbital.
Okay.
Even though the surf prep, it can do things that the orbital sander can't. But if I'm picking something up, it's generally the orbital sander.
Okay. Yeah. Because I have a couple of them. I've got a band sander, and I've got just a regular palm, the square one. What's the square one called? Palm sander.
Yeah.
And the orbital sander. So I have but that's the one I pick up always too, is the orbital. So
well, you get
Andy
Oh.
go on. I know we're winding down. We have about 10 minutes, but I only have one more after this.
Okay.
I had a project, I think it was the Denim and Diamonds dresser, where I'm pretty sure I used this plastic type of sanding pad versus the sandpaper type. And I had problems with I had like a felt applicator that I was putting my top coat on, and it was catching it. And I'm like, I just don't understand, because I went very fine on the top coat. Well, I noticed it again on some other project. So this last time when I did my sanding, I went sandpaper only, and I had zero problems. So maybe that sandpaper, that plastic, when you go to the store and they say paper or plastic.
Paper. Gotcha. That's funny. I like that analogy. Oh, wood fillers. Okay.
So I put the very, when you're doing furniture, you are always filling something, dent, something cracked, and each of these have their uses. So I'm not saying there's one better than the other, but I just wanted to point out that there's some things that, that, like, for instance, Bondos are really good for if you have a mold and you're trying to, create something from nothing.
Yes.
So, uh, those are good for fillers, but Bondo's not very strong, and it can crack or break, and so for that reason, you might consider some of these others. Like a lot of people use that Quickwood, which is kind of like a Tootsie Roll, and you
Just
mix.
don't eat it.
Yeah. So, and those work pretty good. Like if it's expensive. Like if you're gonna need to fill a screw hole or something, you um, I don't know, you're redoing a drawer or something, and you're going from 2 holes to 1 or 1 to 2. You can use that as wood filler. I prefer to use a dowel because it's a heck of a lot cheaper than the wood, the quick wood. And Quickwood works pretty good, but I found something that works a little bit better, and it's that other 2-part on the end. It's, what is that? I can't think of it. Woody. Yes.
Woody. Okay.
It's Woody.
I have never heard of this. Okay.
Just watching a YouTube video, and this girl was building things from like scraps of nothing, and she said, "Oh no, this is what I use," and I tried it, and it's really, really good. It mixes together like Bondo, but it doesn't smell, and it's hard as a rock.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm game.
So it's 2-part, and all of those are 2-part bonders.
Yeah, you got to mix the quick wood really well. It's got the hardener in the middle of it. Yeah.
Yep.
Mhm.
But this stuff is just mixed. It mixes just like Bondo. So
Okay.
Yep.
What's the ratio on it? Is it the same ratio as Bondo? 17 to 1 ish. Okay.
50. Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, yeah. Bondo's what? You're right.
17 to 1, a tiny bit of the hardener to the Bondo. So this is 50-50.
Yeah.
Which I guess makes sense why they give you the equal amounts of it.
Yep.
Yep.
What is it called?
Woody.
That's right.
He Woody.
Okay.
Woody.
He Woody?
Hey, Woody.
Yeah.
Darn, your mind is going to the gutter.
I know. It's like between the screw starter and the Woodies, they're going to shut us down, Dar.
This is a PG show. Oh gosh. Well, I'm definitely gonna try that because you had me at no smell. I am so sensitive to smells, and because going back to slide 1, safety, the first probably, I don't know, 7 years of me working on furniture, I didn't wear any protection. So now I have a hard time with any little bit of dust that I breathe in. It doesn't have to be sanding dust. It could just be like regular household dust or something like that. My throat gets sore and everything. So I really wished I had started out wearing a respirator mask and I knew about all of this when I first started. So I'm the same. I tell people all the time that's like the most important thing. And I wish I could go back through the years and had protected my lungs and my ears because I'm deaf too. I can't hear anything.
There's 2 things that I would add to that list. One of them is, because I'm a Dixie Belle retailer, I think of it, but a Dixie Mud. Now, I will tell you, hands down, it's not as strong as like Bondo or something, like you're not going to create a, whole corner of a piece, out of nothing with mud. But it's a good filler, like if you're just smoothing something out. It's also good for smoothing out wood grain. Like if you have a lot of imperfections, you can do a skim coat of that,
Skim coat.
and it's really helpful. Yeah, and then there's something else, and I can't think of what it's called. I've used it. I was trying to Google it real quick, but we talked about it one other time, and it's going to pop in my head, but it's a powder. And you mix it with water, and dries rock hard. So here we go again.
Yes,
But
it's got that guy on the can where he's like,
yeah,
showing his
he's like,
muscles.
yeah.
Yeah, I
can't
have
think
some
what
of
it's
that.
called. Yeah. Can't think of the name of it, but anyway.
Well, glad you brought up that Dixie Belle mud because I will use that. I might use another filler and it's just not quite smooth enough. And I'll just go back over it, with a little bit of just get it on my finger and rub over, I don't
Yeah.
know, an area.
Yeah, because you don't worry about because it doesn't smell and you don't worry about getting it on your skin,
Right.
I know you guys have probably been keeping track of the comments, but I just see Gretchen. Yeah, there, you just put that up there. Do you mind if we share this PowerPoint, Marah?
No, I don't mind.
Okay, so we can, whoever's interested in getting it, why don't you comment after the video's up? Because I don't think these comments stay. If I'm not mistaken, but if you can comment on any of our videos and then put maybe your email address or just message us or something, and we can get that to you.
Well, yeah, they could just notify through flippinbunchgmail.com, and then we would have their email to just send it back to them.
Correct.
Yes.
The
That
name
would
of
be
that
the easiest way.
was PC, like a personal computer, PC Woody. Just
Okay.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Yeah, still can't think of the name of the other stuff. Yeah, so I did make a little wish list. And then I think to myself, wow, how much stuff do you want? Because you're like going to be 66 years old. And when are you going to stop this nonsense? But I still want it. I really enjoy doing this. And, I think my dad, like when I was little, he did not treat me like a little girl. He taught me all the names of the tools and all that stuff. So I think that's where my love of doing this stuff came from. But yeah, I did make a little list here, and then, and you're inspiring me to use the Craig jig more. But I was going to ask you that about the silhouette, because I think that's kind of maybe something that you could include in tools because, to make a stencil for a project is awesome. Yes, Cheryl, Durham's water putty. That's what it's called.
Yes.
Marah's writing it down. Yeah. I haven't heard of that stuff either.
I wonder if that Durham's will take stain. That's where I always have a problem. If I want to fill something and try to stain it, something that'll take your stain.
Yeah. Have you ever found anything, Marah, that will accept stain like wood will? Because I haven't. I've tried so many different products.
No.
They all say stainable, but it's not. It doesn't stain like wood.
Nope.
It's not.
They lie.
You're lying.
Yeah.
So one time I had something where where you blow through the veneer and you're pretty much done. You don't want that wood grain. One time I used India ink and you could not tell.
Oh wow.
Paint. Yeah.
Okay.
That turned out amazing.
I've taken colored pencils before and try and use them and colored it in and mimic the wood grain with the different browns and blacks and yellows and stuff. And that works really well. Colored pencils.
Like you said a couple comments ago, whatever works. That's what I was just thinking. Whatever works.
Yeah.
Should we pop up the reminders? Do you have them?
Yeah.
In there,
First, let's take a look at this because I'm going to do some begging and pleading. This is the channel that we want to go to for the Flippin Bunch. So it has its own channel instead of switching around with everybody. And then it just work. I think it's going to just work a whole lot better for the algorithms and not interfere with our other channels and where we're at. So if you have not subscribed please come on to YouTube and go to the Flippin Bunch and subscribe.
Yay.
And also,
Yes, please.
when you if you text live to 814-515-4905, Lavonne takes care of that, our lovely Lavonne, and she will send you a text message when we're going to go live. And if that won't work, you can email it and just put live in the subject line to flippingbunch@gmail.com. And then you can also get a notification that way.
Yeah,
think I did.
more so flippin' bunch. If we say flipping, then they'll have a G. So just flippin'
Yeah.
bunch.
Flippin'. The flippin'.
Flippin'. Yes.
That's the youper in her. That's the youper.
Kat left us because she's not feeling great. So she
Yeah.
said she was going to cut out early. So we're glad she joined us for a while.
Well,
What
Marah,
else do
thank
we have
you
coming
very
up?
much for coming on. This has been fun. And just be forewarned that we do ask other guests that have been on before to come back on. So it's a possibility. Fabulous show, well prepared, loved your tools. People want copies of that. That's great. We want to thank everybody who decided to view, stop on in today. It's late. I'm losing my words, guys. But just thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And thank you
Yep,
for
we love you
coming on,
guys.
Marah.
Yay!
Why
Thank
can't I
you.
do that?
Marah
Why
did it!
can't I do
Woo!
I just blow kisses.
I tried to do that at the concert and I couldn't make one. He probably thought I was trying to give him sign language.
Darn you.
I couldn't do it.
Flip it off or something. That was
Oh, geez, you're
now
killing
my
me.
now my mind's going to the gutter.
I know we're just, we're not that kind of channel, really. We're not.
Really? Oh no.
So, anybody
just
got any
kinda hang out.
questions or comments, or are we good? Are we ready to say goodnight?
Gretchen said that was a great show again. Thank you, Marah. Everything was really helpful. I agree. It was really helpful. I learned a lot.
Yes.
I'm going to keep that little screw thing.
Yes, me too. I like that a lot. Yes.
I need that so bad. I hate that when I can't get my screw.
Oh, if you guys could hold on 2 seconds, I'm going to go run and get a vintage tool. Just hang on.
Okay. All right. We can do that.
I have a lot of those at my house. Vintage tools.
You got the whole circular saw that's vintage that you've been lugging
Oh, I
around.
got all my father-in-laws, and they're vintage.
Yeah.
Okay, this was my dad's, and it's a push drill. So it kind of works like that screw starter. This is a broken bit on here, so I'm going to go ahead and like push it into my hand. But
I got one, I got one too.
I got to find something that it's okay. Well, how about one of these resin things that are broke? But it's just spring loaded like that. Coolest thing though, I love this. When I was just starting out and hanging pictures and stuff, this was awesome. And then it even has the little screw off thing that you can keep extra bits, in the handle. So, but this is super old, and I just wanted to show you guys that.
I love it.
Those are cool.
I love it too.
Awesome. Well, thanks everybody, and thank you,
Yes.
Marah. Yay!
Yes, thanks again, Marah.
It was
All right, you guys have a great night.
Totally fun.
Yeah, Marah, if you ever have any questions for us, just let us know on the Flippin Bunch Gmail or any of us, because we do we talk every day or what, guys?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, it starts very early in the morning and it's intermittent throughout the day.
Yeah, throughout the day. So we'll get the message. So yeah, continue to grow, girl. You're doing good, and thanks for coming on. Thanks everybody.
She thinks we're hilarious.
All right, are we signing out? We're ending stream. Here we go. Good night, everybody.
Bye, guys.
Marah. Ah.